What is up, YouTube? I have done every single move tier list, but how do the tier lists rank in a tier list? Not in terms of their accuracy, but in terms of how strong the moves are overall, because we always talk about them in the vacuum of their own move, but now let's talk about them compared to each other. And not only is it just me, but I have the other tier list master here, MockRock.
The other tier list master. Okay, I'll take it. Thanks, man. Happy to be here. Yeah, what's up, guys? MockRock here. Honestly, I make pretty similar videos, at least on my second channel, to what ESAM does. I haven't done this exact concept, but you know, he's done every move tier list. I've done the best and worst of every move kind of videos, so we're pretty much on the same page. I don't think we're gonna agree on everything. ESAM opinions, am I right? But I think it's gonna be a good list. It's gonna be a good list.
ESAM opinions was a Smash 4 thing. My opinions in this game are good, okay? I thought Steve was gonna be better than people thought at the very beginning, okay?
Okay.
I put him in high tier.
Where did you put Marth's up tilt?
I think Marth's up tilt was decent. But also, I'm a Marth hater, so I can ignore that one. I'm a certified Marth. Listen, his forward tilt was better than Lucina's, okay? Whatever, give me some credit.
Okay, I'll give you that one, but not good enough.
So these are just the general moves. We're not talking about Mario here. We're talking about the general moves, and that's just what we're using to represent it. So I don't think we should really go in any like particular order, like worst to best, but we can just I'm just gonna pick a random one, and then we go. Okay. Forward aerial.
This is gonna be... Tier lists are interesting because they really depend a lot on your philosophy, so I want you to lead off with this because I'm kind of curious how you approach this kind of thing from...
I guess the way I would think of this type of tier list is how often are people using this this move overall across the board in their kits, right?
Okay.
So obviously there are some very important moves across the board because they're the game plan defining moves, and then there's also the ones that are good in advantage or usually kill moves or something like that. And I think forward air in general is going to be very important, not the top tier, but probably the second tier, because people use their forward airs for neutral. People use their forward airs for poking, for edge guarding a lot, but they're not always usable, I guess is a way to put it. So it's not going to be the top tier, which those are the, oh, you have to deal with this as the opponent all the time. But this one's it's pretty good.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. The thing about forward airs in particular for me is even the really good ones, usually a lot of the time you think sword fighters, right? When you think these really good, just insane long-ranged aerials, they get mixed up with neutral air and back air a fair amount is the main thing. So they have an important role to play. I'd say they're probably the most versatile, overall usable aerials of those three categories, but I've got a little list made up that just roughly divides characters up by archetype, and I'm sort of referencing that. Looking through it, a lot of the brawler characters don't actually lean on their forward airs that much. Sword fighters do, but again, they're sort of interchangeable. Heavyweights, well, okay, some of the
heavyweights definitely. I mean, depends on. I'm thinking Bowser is the main.
Yeah,
Bowser and K. Rool.
Yeah, so this is one of the things that I was kind of interested in hearing your philosophy about, because there's a huge difference between peak performance and average performance, right? Bowser's forward air is one of the best moves in the game, period. That thing's insane.
That move's insane, yeah. It's a universally good move.
Yeah, but it's it's a pretty significant tier above a lot of forward airs. I'm generally sort of...
I think I put it as number 1 or 2.
When I did my best of every Smash Ultimate move, I called it the best forward air in the game. But I'm sort of in your camp where I'm a little bit more interested in average performance than what the peak of the move category is. And I think I'm in agreement here. I would probably put it in second tier, just because it's not an absolute staple under every circumstance for most characters.
But I can't think of also other than the obviously bad one, Little Mac. I'm kind of ignoring Little Mac when it comes to this, because I don't want to drag every aerial down, because that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah, no, it's such an outlier that you can just kind of discard it.
Where did I put Bowser? No, I put him 15th.
Dude, Bowser.
No, clearly, no, I messed up. Hey, it was over a year ago, my mind has changed. But yeah, I would definitely agree.
ESAM opinions, am I right?
Because there are definitely some forward airs that you're damn, this is obnoxious to deal with. But as you said, I think it's pretty fair to be yeah, but neutral air and back air can also be those neutral type moves. So that's super fair. Get it? Fair.
Oh god.
Ooh, down tilt.
Down tilt.
I have an opinion.
Yeah, okay, let's hear your opinion. I think we're probably going to be on the same page here.
I think down tilt is overall going to be everyone's best ground move.
Yeah.
So it's in MockRock.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear.
I can't think, again, there are probably a couple of bad down tilts, but everyone's best tilt is almost always going to be their down tilt.
Yeah.
If I think of any of them.
Yeah, so when I did the best of every Smash Ultimate move, worst of every Smash Ultimate move kind of deal, I had to go through and find a legitimately bad down tilt. I think I put Jigglypuffs, but it's still not like the world's worst move. If you do connect with it, it does horrible things to your opponent off stage. It's just actually connecting it. But looking through it, basically everyone else's, like, they have usually very slightly less range, if even less range in some circumstances, than forward tilt. They're usually a character's safest ground move. They're often one of their most important combo starters.
It's like a down throw, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they just sort of do everything a lot of the time. The main issue with them is that they only cover the ground most of the time. But like, okay, that's what the move is supposed to be doing. Oh no, it sticks to its role too well. Yeah.
Because like in my bottom tier of my down tilts, I have Puff, Robin, Villager and Isabelle, Pac-Man and Bowser Jr., but those are all usable moves. They're just niche.
Yeah, none of those are terrible.
And then the best ones obviously have like Rob, Incineroar, Palu, Kirby, Young Link, Diddy Kong,
Mythra, Pyra.
Like, they're ridiculous.
Yeah, even a lot of them, like, sort of more typical mid-rangey kind of ones, right? Let's say Captain Falcon is kind of one I'd put around the middle of the pack, but it's still not
strong.
A bad move by any means. Yeah, it'll
this is
still
also a lot of people's
you
two-framing moves, which is part of it.
Yeah, and it's often their most important two-frame move. Like, obviously that varies a bit from character to character, but a lot of them have good two-frame down tilts.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this move, I mean, one of the best overall moves in the game. Like, I think it's in top 4-ish. I don't know how many moves are going to be in each tier, but, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, usually with tier lists, you sort of need to adjust your ratings over time as the clearer picture gets formed, but easily.
You have all the sliding down tilts, like Jokers and Min-Mins, and, dude, those are broken.
Those ended up being way better than I initially expected them to be. When you look at them at first, they seem so
punishable,
unimpressive, because they don't do as much as a lot of the other ones, right? And you need to commit more with them, but in practice, like, they made them all really good.
They're a great anti-air because you just low profile and then smack people, and then
sometimes
depending on which one you can combo off of it, right? Like Sephiroth's less so, but Min-Mins you get up smash, and Jokers you get up air, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, and some of them have like invincibility on parts of the body. Yeah, there are so few bad so few bad down tilt categories, no matter what type of move we're talking about.
I agree, 100%.
Up smash. Yeah, so I think smash attacks in general kind of have to be on the lower end of this list, right? Because safety above all, it kind of tends to be the rule a lot of the time as platform fighter meta has evolved. Out of those, though, up smash, I feel like they just do more than the other categories, right? You can use them out of shield, which you can't do with the other types of smash attacks. That's a huge deal. That gives them a massive use case that the others don't have. Tend to be often very, very good anti-airs as well.
Invulnerable. Or invincible heads and stuff.
A lot of them have that. Like, looking at the list of moves that have invincible elements on them, which I've actually had to do for a video before, up smashes are hugely disproportionate in that category. There's clearly a concerted effort among the developers to make them proper anti-airs.
Yeah.
And anti-air is the big deal. Like, Ultimate is...
jump the game.
Ultimate is jump the game, right? So if you've got a good way to interrupt that game plan from your opponent, and obviously if you look at the absolute top tier of up smashes, we're talking about, your Min-Mins of the world, Zeros and Samus's Game & Watch. Like, they're insane.
You put Zero Suit as top tier?
No, not like the absolute best up smash in the game, but I think it's still very, very good, right? And I don't think it's a top 5 contender, but still looking at that move, it's like, oh my god, the amount of characters that would like to have it.
Yeah, Captain Falcons? That move scoops and kills at 60?
Yeah, that one made honorable mentions when I did my list.
Yeah. They either have invincibility, they are typically... I mean, also one thing that's really important to me is for kill potential, which obviously it's smash attacks, most of them are kill moves. In my opinion, vertical is always more important than horizontal because it will consistently kill no matter where you are on stage, as opposed to forwards or downs, which send horizontally, where if you're across the stage, it's going to differ in kill potential by 60-70%.
Yeah, no, like up throws, like a killing up throw is so much better than any other type of kill throw. Like, it's not even funny.
Yeah, like Samus's and Mewtwo's up throw are way better than like Ness's and Incineroar's back throws.
Yeah, so the question I guess here is, do we agree that they're the best type of smash attack? Is that fair?
I think overall, yeah, because also there's the least amount of bad ones in my opinion. Like, my worst up smashes, ignoring Bronze Robin, are like knee sword. It's like typically honestly sword characters because they're a little too precise for some reason they did that. Like my bottom 4, I mean, my worst one is Bronze Robin, but that doesn't count, is like me Sword Fighter, which is still decent. Like when I play Sword Fighter, I use that a lot. Hero, but it can crit. Then like the Belmonts and Shulk. Like, but the other ones are strong. Like something like Ivysaurs is like really slow, but it also kills you at 60, right?
Yeah, so the thing that I give a little bit more of a pass to them, like trying to land stuff like Ivysaurs up smash, Heroes up smash, not easy, but the thing is, you're sort of approaching opponents in situations where they're already disadvantaged and have limited options, right? So it makes those like really specific skinny hitboxes or really slow hitboxes easier to land than they
Exactly,
usually
I 100% agree.
Is it good enough to put it in the top tier, though?
Let's talk about comparing, right? Do you think up smashes are better than forward airs? Because at the very least, I can put it like at the top of the tier, and then if it feels more appropriate, we can move it up later.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. We're going to need to revisit some of these for sure later on, but personally, I would say that up smashes, they're good, but they're good in their place, right? They're not everything kind of moves.
So you think up smash is worse than forward air?
Probably.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Because I think they're important, but also a lot of times up smashes can be replaced by up airs or up tilts. A little bit more frequently.
And out of shield, often they're not like your first choice, right? If you've got a good up smash out of shield, cool, but if you've got a good up special out of shield, you'd rather be using that.
Exactly. Right? No, I agree. 100%. Ooh, interesting one. Jab.
Yeah. Okay, start us off here.
Jab is very important, right? Some of them are just ridiculous. Obviously, if you look at the very top end, you have like Roy, Chrom. You have random kill jabs like Bowser's and Pyra's. It's typically people's fastest ground move, so it's really important as like a parry option. But I think overall, you would rather use other moves if you can, right? Like, no one's like, hell yeah, I got it. Well, you also have jab locks, which are typically the most, and that's like important.
You play a jab lock character, though.
I mean, yeah, Pika's jab is like obscenely good for jab lock. I mean, and me Brawler, I get forward smash and kill at 60. So
yeah. So jab locks I'm not factoring in as a major issue. I almost look at that as more of a technicality, right? It's like, okay, yeah, they can jab block, but they have those particular properties. It matters, but I don't know if it would be enough to matter a point on a tier list, considering how broad these points are, if you know what I mean. I think, does Ultimate have the worst jabs in the series?
Melee.
Well, okay, even Melee, though, you've got stuff like Fox doing jab up smash and
okay, but then that's like the best jab in the game. Well, you also have Gentleman with Falcon, I guess, but like Marth's jab is like only useful for edge guarding, and there's also 8 characters in that game, right? The best jabs in this game are way better than the best jabs in Melee because like Chrom's jab is ridiculous.
Yeah, Chrom. So I'm assuming we're doing these a little bit more in the context of their characters' kits as well. So we're taking like a broader spectrum look at them. Yeah, the issue I have with so many of these jabs, looking through them though, is most of them don't do anything. You know, they're
just get off me options.
Yeah, how important is a get off me option compared to what other characters are wanting to do? Because I'm not saying it doesn't matter, obviously, but my opinion on here is almost like if you need to use your jab, you've messed up to like at least a small degree. You know what I mean? Obviously,
or it's like just a really hard situation type of thing.
Yeah, obviously it's a fighting game. Characters get entangled in tricky situations, and you know this nice clean game plan of I'm a mid-range fighter, so I stay at the specific spacing and do the specific thing. That falls apart in an instant all the time.
Yeah.
But it's like, so many of these characters, if they have to use their jab, their game plan is not going as they want it to, and they're trying to use it to reset. That's an important function, but wouldn't you rather lean towards moves that sort of enforce your actual good game plan more? And especially a lot of characters that particularly need good jabs, right? Like sword fighters, they intentionally often don't give them great ones.
Which is why Roy and Chrom's jab is egregious.
Yeah, no, I'm not arguing with those.
No, but I'm agreeing with your point.
Yeah, those are sins. But like, looking at a lot of these guys, like Sephiroth would desperately like to have a good jab. They intentionally didn't give him one because they know that.
Good.
Yeah. No. It's Sephiroth. Can he not get like a little bit of help?
I mean, yeah, Sephiroth sucks, so that's fair. Worst by far of DLC Pack 2.
Probably, yeah, but he's still not even bad. But
well, yeah, he's high tier, but no one in this game is bad. There's 7 bad characters, and everyone's high tier. Otherwise, like it's fine.
I'm not even willing to argue that there's 7 bad characters. There's like, but yeah. Like what do we have? We have Mac, we have Ganon,
like Doc. But even you can argue Doc.
But even Doc, right? That's what I mean. And Doc, but even on a character like Doc, who actually is actively really wanting to be getting into his opponent's face, he's not excited to land a jab.
He'd rather grab, he'd rather down tilt, he'd rather so many other things. Like, I feel like jab, unless the frame data is significantly better with jab, you mostly want a down tilt. Or even forward tilt, but I don't even think forward tilt's like a particularly good move overall. Spoilers for the list.
I don't think forward tilt is usually a substitute for jab, but down tilt often is.
Yeah.
So for the moment, I would probably argue jab being in the third tier.
Yeah,
good.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can revisit it later, but I like it. They're just not exciting moves to land.
It definitely doesn't go up. It might go down. Like, it's definitely not in up smash tier.
No, it's not.
Okay, let's go back to an aerial. Okay, this will be interesting. Down air. So down air, like, it's typically universally people's spike moves, right? Which is hugely important because that's a very important edge guarding tool. It's also typically useful on the ground. Like, if you're gonna hit someone's like spot dodge or something, because it like can hit them up into a combo starter or like a combo move. And also it's useful in disadvantage sometimes, like depending on the character, right? Because it's typically your biggest move below you. But at the same time, those are somehow more niche because do you have to down air disadvantage? You can just air dodge. Advantage moves are so much more important than disadvantage moves because there's always going to be other options for disadvantage.
Yeah, that's fair. So the main thing with down airs for me, I think their most important use case overall is probably, trying to spike people with them or trying to two-frame people with them, going for T spikes, things like that. But the thing is, edge guarding just isn't as important as I kind of thought it would end up in Ultimate. It seems like as you're a top player, I'm obviously not, so tell me if you agree with this take, but it seems like as time's gone on, people have gotten a little bit less bold about going off stage, right? They tend to like to go for two frames and ledge trapping a little bit more. Like early on in Ultimate's life, you really saw like a big push for edge guarding situations, but it seems like Ultimate was gonna be different, right? Ultimate's like, oh, you only get one air dodge, and I was a little bit skeptical about that because like people were going like, oh no, you don't understand, you can just burn their air dodge and then they have nothing. But it's like, okay, but isn't air dodge directional now? Mm-hmm. And yeah, so it seems like the edge guarding game is not nearly what I expected it to be, and that's kind of the best use case you would have for down airs. People have figured out cool ways to use down airs in other situations, but using it as a combo starter, it's got its place, right? You can use it as kind of a short hop in place as a pseudo spot dodge, for example, and then you get a down air off of it, and then you get a huge combo.
Like someone like reading a spot dodge, right? With like, I mean, an obvious example would be like Ganon or Falcons just down air on stage until whatever they want, right?
Yeah, they love to do that, but even then, Falcon is probably the character that goes for that the most in the entire game. Is that his best option all the time? Yeah,
that's fair. They can also just, I mean, for Falcon in particular, you can just nair. But yeah, no, I understand that. I think that's totally fair. I wish people edgeguarded more, obviously, as an edgeguard enthusiast. Even ignoring the fact that I play Pika, right? Like, I try to edgeguard with every character I play. Hence why I use Burning Dropkick on me Brawler instead of Suplex, right? Because I just get to go out there. But yeah, I feel like down air, a lot of the times, is a little more niche than some other moves, right? I feel like when you're edgeguarding also, you can forward air, you can back air. You can neutral air depending on the character, whereas like down air has a specific purpose, but it's more niche of a purpose overall. Like it's good. Like I wouldn't put it in the bottom tier, but I definitely put it in the jab tier.
I think you could make a case for bottom tier for this one, honestly.
Worse than jab?
I think that down airs are worse than jab in more situations, yeah, because the thing is, jab, the thing about them is there are often scenarios where you can't really substitute them with anything. Right, I don't think there are basically any situations where there's not at least one move that will do at least a good chunk of the job that down air is doing. I'm not saying there are none, but edge guarding, again, like...
You can like repetitively edge guard someone, like hitting them over and over and over again. Eventually they run out of resources or go too far. You don't have to spike them immediately. Yeah,
no, exactly. Like I think a good chunk of the time hitting someone with a lingering nair will give you the same eventual outcome as hitting them with a downer. Yeah, you don't get to cheese them at 30 or 40 the same way, but a lot of downers in Ultimate can't even do that. Yeah, I main Dark Pit. Don't talk to me about weak downers.
Oh, well, hey, your down air is a combo move.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad down air, but as an edge guarding tool,
yeah, you have to do it at like 80.
Sad.
Yeah. It's like down air. Okay, now they're gonna recover, and then I down air, and then they're gonna recover, and then I down air, then they die. Yeah, no, I can agree with that. I think down air so far, Like, again, maybe I think jab is worse, but oh no, jab would maybe be in the bottom tier as well. But yeah, I can agree with that. Like, they're too niche. Even though they're good, they're too niche.
Yeah, they do one thing well. The best moves do so many things well, and a lot of the time they do them just as good as Danner.
Yeah, exactly.
Down smash. So down smash is often very good two-frame options is the first thing that comes to mind with them, and they cover both sides of characters. That covering both sides thing actually seems to come up a fair amount in scrambles, even if they're not technically
if you make someone tech near the ledge, like, and they don't have a super good tech roll, you can just cover both.
Yeah,
I do that all the time.
Yeah, so they're kind of checkmates in tech chase situations sometimes, and even in scrambles, right? Like, they're one of those things where you might think, oh, well, they're not a safe move to use, so why would anyone do it? But in practice, you see it happen a fair amount, even at top level. People are just like, oh, I don't really know what to do, throw out down smash, and a lot of the time it works.
Definitely think they're worse than up smashes overall, because just anti-airing is a lot more important, and if you are going to tech chase with something like a down smash, you can frequently do a different move, you know, like I'm not saying down smash isn't going to necessarily be the best option, but you can dash attack or dash grab or forward tilt or whatever, right? Just rely a little bit more on your reactions. Again, I spam my down smash, like Pika's in particular is very, very good. And they also typically either linger or send it like an awful angle. Like, I mean, think of like Puff's down smash. Like, it's not good, but it sends you at angle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like sort of a semi-spike thing. And Isabel's is, again, it's kind of a sort of Isabel's is almost what I picture as just like a down smash, right?
Exactly.
It's nothing special, but it still has that function of covering both sides, and is pretty good. And in Ultimate, a lot of down smashes are surprisingly powerful.
And surprisingly fast. I think they're overall the fastest smash attack.
Yeah, so they have good utility, and the payoff is often, like, pretty nice. Not insane all the time, but better than a lot of moves on this list. Obviously, they're smash attacks, so they should be rewarding to hit, but I feel like even compared to some previous games, like, I consistently feel pretty comfortable going for down smashes. I play a pit, so they have, like, what I think is one of the better down smashes in the game.
Like, the thing about down smashes is I feel like they are kind of they're the middle smash attack, right? Because you have up smash, which I feel like they shouldn't be as strong as they are, like, overall, because they always hit this, like, same direction. Up smashes are the weakest smash attack, but they anti-air, and that's their purpose. Then forward smash is your killing, like, it's almost universally the strongest smash attack. But it's typically more laggy or slower, like to start up, or just a more particular hitbox. Whereas down smash, it's kind of like, hey, this is kind of in the middle. It sends in a bad position, but it's not, like, typically they're not particularly strong, but they're also not particularly weak.
Yes, and the other big thing I ask about a lot of these moves is, do you use it a lot in neutral? And if the answer is no, that automatically knocks it down a peg for me.
Up smash is more usable in neutral.
Yeah, a lot of the time down smashes are more set play stuff. Not all the time, but it tends to come up a fair amount. And I think if you just can't spam the hell out of a particular type of move, which Ultimate allows for other type, so Game & Watch is an exception, though, right? Like, obviously, Game & Watch's down smash is insane.
Okay, so it's been a while since we've done one of the good ones, so spoilers for what it is, but let's go with, in my opinion, this might be a hot take. This might be a debate. Up B.
Up B?
I think up B is...
Okay.
I mean, it has a unique purpose, right? Where if people didn't have their up B, they die. For the most part.
Oh, does
because they're recovery
count,
moves.
Though?
Yeah, I think so, because people that have bad recovering up Bs are typically worse characters, or are so good that it doesn't matter, like Aegis and Cloud. But, like, a good up B is game determining, right? Like, if you think of, characters you have to look out for their up Bs, you have the Add a Shield up Bs with Game & Watch and Samus and Mario and Dr. Mario. You have the mobility up Bs like Pika's and Greninja's. That are really important to think about. And then, like, they can also be combo enders, like Mario's, Mii Brawlers, Zero Suits, right? And a lot of times they can be good out-of-shield options, even if they're not the elite out-of-shield option.
Looking at this, it's tricky. So I think the question of, does up B being used as a recovery move count is an interesting one, because you can't really evaluate characters without it, right?
Yeah.
But the caveat of like, oh, well, if you took a character's up B away, they would just die every time they went off stage. Yeah, it's true, but like it's so trivial that it almost feels like it shouldn't factor in that much. But I can understand the argument that it should.
Because like think about it, like a character like Game & Watch. Again, that his is an extreme example because it's like the best up B in the game by far.
By far.
But like, you know, you think, oh, this character has like a predictable disadvantage. They want to do this, this, or this. Oh, you can't actually hit their up B. You have to just two-frame it or like hope that you're super right, and that's a hard outplay. So like, I think that's a big deal because characters with not great up Bs, I mean like Duck Hunts, right? Which granted, again, that's in the lower exceptional part. It's like, oh, you're off stage, you die because you just get hit.
Do you though? So here's the thing.
Sucks.
Okay, that's fair. You might argue that everyone sucks. I'm not a top player. I can't tell you everyone sucks. I'll leave that one to you. But
everyone sucks.
So I've been in this situation where I've had to look for like really good edge guarding clips on supposedly vulnerable characters before. So this is part of my job. This is one of my very rare claims to fame. I've watched more Smash Ultimate than probably everyone besides maybe 100 people on planet Earth. Right? It's literally my job. So I will pick a vulnerable character like say Duck Hunt and go, oh, okay, cool. I just need to find a clip of him getting edge guarded for this particular context. And I will literally go through like 30, 40, 50 tournament sets sometimes at double speed, looking for one good clip of a character getting edge guarded who supposedly got a bad recovery. It can be hard to find. Like, characters make it back in Ultimate. This is coming back to the thing again where I said I really thought edge guarding would be a big deal, and it's just not as big a deal. I get what you're saying. You're advocating for
people
everyone
cowards.
Sucks. Yeah, people are cowards. People should be going for edge guarding a lot more. But this is a kind of an interesting, almost philosophical question when it comes to tier lists, right? Is what matters more? What could happen or what does happen?
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, that's the difference, right, between like a theory good character and a good tournament character, right?
Yeah,
like the difference in tier list, like you know, like normal tier list things where people are like, Rob is top 3. It's just like, but he has so many flaws. It's like, but look at his results. It's like, yeah. You know, like there's the two camps of like results-based tier lists and like not results-based tier lists.
Yeah, and personally, I tend to be in the not results-based tier list.
Let's go, me too.
I tend to believe that you're sort of trying to gauge a character's max potential than just presenting a stats.
Otherwise, Cloud's the best character in the game.
Right? They both have just colossal sample sizes to work with, right? So if you have 10 times more people playing Cloud and Steve, and I think some of the other really popular ones are like Bowser, I know is insanely popular.
Rob,
Joker's
Samus.
Extremely well represented. Rob, yeah. So those kind of characters, they have 10 times the player base of the less represented characters. Of course, there's more room for the sort of cream to rise to the top, right? So I think you need to separate that from a bit. But this is sort of, again, whining back around to up specials. It's like, well, characters do make it back. Does that mean they should be? I don't really know. And how much does that tie in? And even then, if you're looking at some of the best characters in the game, they don't necessarily have the best up specials. So it's clearly not holding them back that much. Now, you could say, oh, well, Cloud would be an even better character if he had a really good recovery.
Could you imagine Cloud with like Samus's up B?
No, I can't.
But even then, Cloud's up B like is really important for him regardless of recovery because it's an out of shield option.
It is a good out of shield option, but like that they're almost two completely different things that need to be evaluated in tandem and then like wound back together, right? So
which is why I think they're not the best. They're not like they're not like the best moves in the game. They're the lowest move in the top tier, in my opinion.
I can see an argument for that just out of sheer these do so much. Right? I think they're often not the best at what they do. On some characters, they're the best out of shield option. You know what? I'm talking myself out of this, though, right? Because, well, are they a character's best recovery option? Yeah, almost by default, they sort of have to be. And a lot of the time, they are best out of shield. Yeah, okay.
And they can be
talking
combo
myself out of my
enders.
own case here. Yeah, they do a lot. I think what you're saying here with upper end of top tier.
Yeah.
yeah, you know what? I'm on board with it. Let's wrap it up. This one's been going on forever. This one went so far off.
It's
fine.
It's
interesting though, right? This is literally what I do. Like I spend my days thinking about this exact kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is the fun. This is fun stuff. I love this. It's been surprisingly fun to theorize these because for me personally, like for my normal like my game tier lists of like who the best characters in the game are, I think them out beforehand on like my streams. But for these, I'm just like, we're doing this today, and I like think about it like as it's happening. And
you constantly learn new stuff.
Like, it's been a lot of fun. The frame data that I've learned is crazy. Why is Puffs forward tilt -7?
Yeah, You're describing an incredibly common phenomenon. Do you know what the rubber duck method is? Does that sound familiar to you?
Nope.
Okay, so this is a thing in coding, and I'm a computer science major, so this is like it's shocking how often this comes up. I will run into a major issue with some kind of code that I'm trying to write, and I will be like just stuck for literally hours. Like there's no kind of hell like coding hell.
It seems
You're sitting there in the computer lab at 5 a.m. and 4 hours have gone and you've written 2 lines. So then I will finally say like, fuck it, I've had enough. Let me go into a computer coding forum and ask the question. And as I'm typing out the question that I have, the answer comes to me.
Yeah.
Over the course of my degree, this happened probably 50 times. Like, it's funny how your brain works that way. Verbalizing the issue suddenly makes it click in a way that just, it was there all along, but you need to solidify it.
Let's do up air.
Right, like they're basically the juggling move.
The advantage
and juggling's
move.
And juggling's a big deal. Like it's a
especially
huge
currently.
deal in Ultimate.
Like currently, it's probably the most like when people are telling like, yeah, I struggle with advantage. I'm like, that's a big deal. Like that's the deal. I'd rather you be bad in neutral because eventually you'll flail and get a hit by just using good moves. But like if you're bad in advantage, that's a problem.
Okay, so I know that the whole neutral versus advantage state is like a legitimate debate at top level. You're in the advantage camp then?
Yes.
That's fair because so many characters in Ultimate that are like considered
just hit you
really
and kill
good,
you.
Yeah, they just blow you up in advantage state.
Like, I definitely, up air might be the best move we've talked about so far. I don't know if it's better than down tilt. Those are close, but also up air's, again, more of an advantage tool, and down tilt is how you start your combos, whereas up air is the combo.
So the thing is, like, again, like I talked about in an earlier move, if a move isn't spammable in neutral, I automatically bring it down considerably. Some up airs are even spammable in neutral, like a lot of sword.
Yeah, Roy's, for example.
Yeah, a lot of that like upward sword arc. There are a fair amount of them, a surprising amount of them. A lot of sword characters have those. Looking through here, even sort of the pseudo sword ones, Mewtwo, a lot of the kickflip ones, like Mario's is totally usable in neutral. And
the brawler up airs are good. The sword up airs are good. The mid range up airs are good. Or like even like the zoner up airs, like like Samus's up air is obviously very good because it also is a combo move. Even like the Belmont up air, it's like probably in the lower end of up airs, but it's like, damn, dude, that can kill you at 70.
Yeah.
And like obviously it covers a huge amount of space. Like I think almost every character other than Little Mac like has a good up air.
I'm looking through the list here and trying to find bad ones, and I'm struggling, man. The drag downs too. So many of these are combo starters and kill moves, and both a lot of the time. Drag downs, a lot of the best drag downs come
Sheik
from up
Joker.
airs. Yeah, like, okay, yeah, no, this is gotta be top of the list so far. It's part of the way the overall engine works, and it's also just the philosophy of most moves. It seems like the developers really wanted aerials to be way safer than ground moves for some reason. And this has been a recurring thing
because
in Smash.
You can
I don't
parry
really
it
know.
easier.
I guess, but even in other Smash games, right? Like, I don't know why they really want to have this focus on aerial combat. Maybe that's just, they think it's one of the things, I guess, it just differentiates it from more traditional fighters, so they want to emphasize it more. But the difference is striking a lot of the time.
Forward smash.
So this is an interesting one.
We'll finish out the smash attacks here. This is not where I'm putting it. It's just a placeholder because I don't want to just be dragging it forever. They can be anti-airs, depending on who it is. They're also the smash attack with the most pullback. Like, think of like Sonic F smash, Mario F smash, Pikachu F smash, where you get like, you back up a step and then you hit someone. So like they're useful for spacing. As I mentioned when we talked about down smashes, they are generally the strongest smash attacks, but also the least, barring the ridiculously safe ones, typically the least safe.
By far. And so the thing is, just straight up killing your opponent matters,
it's
right?
important.
Yeah, like, how do you win the game? You take stocks from your opponent. Mudace had a fantastic video on that. But that's kind of all they do a lot of the time.
Except for the exceptional ones.
Well, sure.
But again, that's if you're comparing, but the top 7 of these moves are broken. It's like, well, the top 7 of every move is broken.
So many of these I'm looking through and I'm like, okay, kill move, kill move, kill move, kill move. Yeah, you can cheese your opponent with the pullback, There's actually a shocking amount of characters who can do that.
Yeah, there's like 50, it's like 15 or 20 characters.
Yeah, Falco can do it, Pichu, Squirtle. No, there's more than 15 or 20. Lucario. Okay, this is just a list of characters who pull back with their forward smashes. Jesus. But yeah, their big, dumb kill moves, they're often... So an important note is they're often the furthest a character can reach without committing to a burst option.
Yes.
That matters, but a lot of the time, I think the burst option commitment and trade-off for more safety and better frame data is often a worthy one. The thing is, I guess the big question, how often do characters want to be relying on killing with their smash attack versus just using a killing aerial, right? Which basically the entire roster has.
Right.
And looking through a lot of this list,
most people want to kill with aerials.
Yeah, and
even characters that have the kill forward smashes, like again, even like the broken forward smashes, like Wolf and Game & Watch and Mario, like the super good kill smash attacks. Those guys have kill aerials, like Wolf back air or Nair. Like Sephiroth has a back air instead of forward smash. Like, I'm a little biased because Pikachu's one of the only characters without a legitimately good kill aerial, which is his actual biggest flaw, not the fact that he's stubby. As the metas progress, like I use forward smash the most, but I also get punished for it a lot. Like a character like Meta Knight, right? Who his forward smash is one of the best in the game. It's super safe, it's ridiculously strong. But even then, he can nair, he can back air, he can up B, right? Like he has other kill options. Like I definitely think it's more useful overall than down smashes.
They're in the ballpark for me because like
it's better than jab at the very least.
Oh, it's definitely better than jab, but down smash just does so much more. Like a lot of these forward smashes. Yeah, a lot of these forward smashes just do one thing. And it's an important thing. Again, taking stocks is a big deal, but down smash, like you use them in tech chases, use them as 2 frames. You can technically use some forward smashes angled down as 2 frames, or like Marths or whatever Mario. If you really want to. Yeah, Mario's in that special privileged.
But also, that's why his forward smash is broken.
Well, and he steps back like 100.
Yes, there's 3 reasons why it's broken. It's like one of the best forward smashes in the game.
But even a lot of these ones that you can angle down aren't that useful for it, and you'd rather be doing something else instead.
Yeah.
I don't know. Looking through the list, like a lot of these kind of suck, frankly. This is one of the categories where I thought most so far, like, the average entry in this list is not that impressive. A lot of the big dumb ones that are good at killing, right? Palutena's forward smash. Kind of sucks. Hero's forward smash and kind of sucks. Well, I mean, Heroes can like buff it up, but like if it's not buffed up or he doesn't crit, like not that impressive. And I would probably call his maybe even the upper echelon of the roster, and it's still not like that crazy.
They're basically like air dodge reads for the most part.
Pretty much.
Or like jab block enders.
I would honestly maybe even be willing to put this in bottom tier. But no, because I think they're a significant step up from down air. But like, I value versatility.
You want to do this?
I think that's fair for now. There's a chance I might want to revisit this one when we sort of have a broader picture of the entire list. But yeah, I'm not impressed by most of these forward smashes.
Because I feel like it's easier to know, like, oh yeah, these are all good, right? But like forward smash, a lot of them are niche. And the ones that aren't niche are like clearly like, oh, these are the top 10 forward smashes in the game.
This may be the most niche category of move, period, right? But the niche that they fill is so good. Okay,
let's do another special move because we've only done one so far. Ooh, this is an interesting topic. Down Bs.
Oh, down Bs are weird, yeah.
They're either really good or really bad. You have the mobility down Bs, right, of bouncing fish, lip jump.
Yeah, no, those are all insane.
Mii Brawler's version of it. You have like the transform moves, which are kind of cheating, right? Like Pokemon Trainer Swap, Pyromithra Swap, Min Min's arm change.
There are so few of those, I don't know if I'd really factor them into the list that much. Some of the other big ones, this is where counters usually go. That's a big one.
The counters kind of suck. I mean, they're the best in this game that they've ever been, but also counters still, other than like the 4 really, really good ones,
yeah,
or 5, however many there are. It's like there's like the really good ones, and then you use them to edgeguard specifically like Roy and Chrom. Like that's about it.
I've done a counter tier list before, and like a lot of them, there were a couple where I sort of am in your camp where I was like, oh wow, these are actually legitimately just kind of borked moves, but so many of them just aren't that impressive. Item pulls though, that's another big category, and those are essentially
broken.
Right, like those are a lot of the best moves in the game. You've got banana peel, you've got Link's bomb,
Gyro,
turnip. Oh god, turnip! I wasn't even thinking about turnip.
Even
even one of the sort of more, I don't know, mid ones, right? Like Banjo's rear egg. It's still really good. Yeah, no, it's good. It's not one of the best of these, but it's still like a far better than average move.
I feel like down Bs overall are like ignoring the counters, they're like the second most unique move on a character. Like there are so many different types of down Bs, right? Because you have like thunder, and you have reflectors, and you have again, the transform versions of the move. You have like the extra jumps, you have like spawning items, as you said. I feel like so many of those categories are good, and even then counters are still useful. They're just baitable.
They've got their place for sure, and I'm still looking at some of the more unique ones that don't necessarily fit into one of those clear categories, right? Like Samus, Morph Ball Bomb, really
broken.
Good move. Mewtwo's Disable, good.
Super good.
What are some of the other ones that don't really neatly fit? Because a lot of these
Rest.
Rest is how good a move is Rest realistically? Because I've noticed Base Mage is starting to use it more often, but he was winning a lot of his early stuff with basically zero rests. Yeah.
Well, I mean, but again, for me, like when I think of things because my tier lists are all in a vacuum, right? Do you know how many characters would just be able to go like down throw rest and just kill 50?
No, that kind of stuff is dumb. I agree with that. But for this one, we're looking sort of more at what they do in the context.
I mean, I think it's super important. It's parry, like frame 2, dead. It's like one of the most rewarding moves to hit. And again, like that's the thing is some of these moves are like the most rewarding moves to hit. Like Thunder. Like Thunder for me swings sets. Right?
Yeah, and it's even better on Pichu, arguably.
It's cool. No, by a significant, like Pichu's Thunder is way better.
So the thing, like the thing about Pichu is just like up air into Thunder. Why is that a thing? I know he needs it.
He
but
actually
like,
needs it. He needs it. Pika doesn't need his. Pichu needs Thunder.
Yeah, so Pichu, I'm just biased against Pichu because I'm in the camp where this like small character that's impossible to hit shouldn't be good for the health of the game. I say to a Pikachu main who isn't really that far off.
Yeah,
but,
well, it's fine. I understand.
Yeah,
No, I understand when people think Pika's toxic. I agree. Pika's toxic.
No, I know you're a big advocate for Pika supremacy / toxicity. I can respect it.
Pika busted.
I am completely on board with someone who just unapologetically says how broken their character is. For the record, I agree. I think Pikachu's like undeniably still a top 5 character. I don't know why he ever fell off.
I feel like a lot of really important moves are down B. Like, I'm not going to say it's the best move that we've put so far, but I definitely, thinking about it more, they're in the top tier. I think they're better than up Bs.
Now that I'm scanning through it more, I'm kind of more inclined to agree with it.
Are they better than down tilts?
On some characters, they're better than down tilts by a significant margin. Yeah.
Counters drag it down.
Yeah, counters do. Is there anything else that does? I'm looking through this list. So many of these other, like Luigi.
Deep breathing, limit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm sold. This has to be in top tier.
Like, I think there are too many good ones. And even then, again, the worst down Bs are like the transform-esque down Bs, which don't really count, but are also still important. Because like it's Pokemon Trainers combo breakers, right? And Mithra, it helps their recovery and blah blah blah, right?
Yeah, no, I think you can argue that those are the best down specials in the game because the characters don't function without them. But that totally depends on how you want to look at the rankings in a tier list, right?
But even then, then the worst versions of down Bs are what? Counters, which technically are still useful. They're just higher risk than other down Bs like Zero Suit Flip Jump.
Yeah, not even all the counters are bad, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, there's like some of the best counters, some of the best down Bs in the game are counters, like Jokers and Sephiroths and Revenge.
Oh god, Revenge. If the worst category of a move we can think of is actually more like, okay, half of them are pretty bad, like, oh well.
Yeah, oh no.
Yeah.
Dash attack. Again, I'm just putting this here as a placeholder. This is not where I think it is at. Or YouTube comments. By the way, while you're down here, subscribe like an hour into the fucking video. Yeah.
So dash attacks do a lot. Like instant dash attack alone is an option that is often indispensable for characters.
Like parry punishes.
Right? Like nothing else would hit here in the way that dash attack does.
It's typically character's biggest burst option, which can be really important for like advantage, neutral in general.
It is. The thing that a lot of the time in Ultimate specifically though, like pivot cancel forward tilts kind of tend to compete with them in that more traditional burst category. Often not nearly as good, but there are a fair amount of characters who it's like, I want to run up and forward tilt instead of run up and dash attack. So they don't really have that dominance in that particular category that they used to for certainly the past couple of Smash games.
But they also, honestly, a lot of them two-frame.
That's true, actually. Yeah, no, you're right. Mario's, I think, can Kirby's two-frame certain characters? I'm pretty sure.
I think like a bad two-frame, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you have the, like, again, the exceptional dash attacks are obviously crazy, like snakes, palutinas, wolves, pikas. The thing about dash attack to me that's interesting is I would have to look at the like list of characters, but some of them are just their get out of corner option because they airborne themselves during their dash attack, so therefore don't have the collision, right? Like Min Min and Game & Watch. Like a lot of characters you can just like shield the dash attack and get an easy punish, but a lot of characters dash attacks cross up. Jokers,
yeah, no.
snakes, the ones that I mentioned, Game & Watch, Min Min. So it's just like, hey, get into the corner, or get out of the corner rather.
Yeah, no, the cross up point is a good one. Technically, there are a fair amount of characters who can punish cross ups. Like the frame data on paper is bad enough, but
then you're getting hit in the center, so who cares?
Yeah, and this isn't on paper as well, right? In practice, you see those cross ups pay off all the time
because you're not sure if it's going to.
Technically, they shouldn't. You can make the argument, oh, well, if you're comfortable enough with the matchup, then you should know the spacings they can cross up from, and you should know the frame data. Okay, do you know how many characters there are in this game? Yeah, like, you don't know every matchup, and that is a real factor that needs to be sort of...
I mean, even then, like, there are still some, like, I learned recently, like, within the past... like since 2023, how to make Pikachu's dash attack cross up more consistently. I legitimately thought, oh, it never crosses up ever. And then I'm like, oh, actually, there's all these situations where it crosses up. That makes it super broken.
But you're saying, yeah, because it just determines what side the center of mass is on and which side you push the button. God,
which is stupid.
No one's gonna,
but like dash attack,
no one's gonna know that.
Correct. Like some of them you do. Like snakes is a little bit more obvious when it's gonna dash or cross up because it, is a giant lunge. But like Game & Watches, I never know what side that's on because also his animations are stupid. But like that's the thing, dash attack is the move that interacts with the physics of the game the weirdest. So it kind of gets a buff from that because it's constantly a knowledge check.
Yeah,
which is confusing in tournament, which is really, really important of like, hey, you don't know how to punish this.
And I'm a big advocate for like, okay, maybe you should, but you also don't. And that is a real thing that needs to be taken into account. The cross-up thing's a good point that I wasn't seriously considering.
Plus, there are kill dash attacks, there are combo dash attacks, right? Like you have like Toon Link's dash attack.
That's a big thing that I'm looking through at the moment and just trying to sort of figure out what kind of reward is left. That's sort of my one big question. A lot of these don't do that much, but you've got like Fox is a combo tool, Luigi's a kill move, Falcons is a kill move, Puffs is a kill move.
I mean, there's definitely like 20 or so kill dash attacks, and like thinking about
the Pit's kill, Ike's kill,
Samus's.
Stupidly good. I think there might be more than that. K Rule, Palutinas will kill at high enough percents. Clouds.
Oh god.
The Lynx, Hero, Byleth. No, a lot of these kill.
Like low key, this is just down smash but better.
You know what, man? I don't hate that.
So I think I'll put it in.
Oh my god, so many of these
good.
kill.
And the ones that don't combo.
Yeah, I like doing videos like this because it always makes you ask questions you never asked before. Like, okay, Me Gunner's kills, Sephiroth's kills, Pyra's. Oh god, Mithra's dash attack is just a straight up burst movement tool. Okay, these are good. Yeah, no, these are good.
Do you think they're better than up smashes overall?
Yes.
You think they're better than forward airs overall?
Aerials are so good.
It's still crazy to me that down air's currently the worst move. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's so much more niche than any of the other ones. It's not even funny, though. Personally, I would say this is just under forward air.
Okay, I'm down with that. I didn't expect that one to be so hard.
These are one of the more... Like, they all do the same thing, more or less, but there's so much nuance between different variants of them, and they all are mostly really good.
I mean, even, like, the ones that I wouldn't consider, like, super broken, right, are, like... Villagers and Isabels, but those are still incredibly niche and weird, and you can use them off of platforms, and also they still combo for some reason.
Yeah, that's one of the ones where you test them out in training mode, or you see like some player online use it, and you're like, whatever. It's like a little pot that doesn't do anything. And then you watch like the best Villager and Isabel players, and oh my god, they get mileage out of those.
If the bad dash attacks are still good, it has to be pretty high. Like I don't think the peak of dash attack is as high as the moves in the top tier. But they're up there. Again, I think dash attack and forward air can be a debate, but I'm okay with putting it here for now. Let's get it out of the way. in my opinion, the worst move overall in the game is forward tilt. The best forward tilts in the game are good, but they can be used, like, they are the most replaceable move, because you're going to replace them with down tilt, with dash attack, with forward air.
Okay, so what do you consider, like, I've seen this video, but it's been a while. What do you consider the best forward tilts in the game to be?
My top 5 were Min Min, Sephiroth, Squirtle, Lucas, and Chrom. And then, like, you had Bowser, Belmont, Little Mac.
Yeah, so if you shuffle around that top 8, it would be, you know, we'd probably have basically the same top 8, not in the same order, but close enough. I get where you're coming from here. Even the very best of them, like, personally, I think that if you're not using Min Min's,
she's different.
Yeah, if you're not,
so it's fair.
Yeah, if you're not counting Min Min's, I would personally say Sephiroth, just because at least
it's
in a
huge,
vacuum
and it's a kill
range
move.
is so important, and it can two frame, right? So
yeah.
It's got a lot going for it, but even then, everything I'm describing, I get your point that there's other stuff that you can kind of step in for, right? Like, Sephiroth's forward tilt and his forward air do largely the same thing. Forward tilt is a bit quicker, but like forward air covers roughly the same space, except you can also, you know, use it in the air.
And it's safer. And if you want a 2-frame, you can 2-frame with down tilt. Or you can space, if you want to hit a neutral get up, instead of hitting it with forward tilt, you hit it with back air.
And the thing is, with forward tilt in particular, a lot of the time, it's one of the character's furthest reaching moves on the ground. As much as that matters, you know, a lot of the time you'd rather be using dash attack, which goes even further, or you'd rather be covering the air and the ground.
Exactly.
And looking at a lot of the brawler forward tilts in particular, a lot of these suck.
Like they're just forward tilts. It's Luigi's. I mean, I know Mario's is good specifically because he has a pivot cancel F tilt, but at the same time, like, so
it's not even that good.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not like excited to land a forward tilt. It's just, okay, it's what I'm doing. Yeah, so the safety thing, I'll argue in their favor a little bit just because of range, right? So a lot of the time, even if the frame data this is one of those things, ultimate frame data.
Technically, it's bad frame data, but applicably, you can't punish it.
It's a fantastic resource, but you need to actually take it in context, right? Just because it says so on paper doesn't mean you can actually do anything about it. But even so, like sword fighters that applies to for the most part, like, yeah, their forward tilts technically aren't the safest on shield, but space it like you're supposed to be doing with a sword character, and you're usually good.
Yeah, like Pyros.
But with a lot of other characters, that doesn't necessarily hold up the same way.
Yeah,
like,
even a sword fighter like Corrin, like, you might be able to, like, if you're dashing into her and you shield a forward tilt, you might be able to shield grab that. That's the thing, is like, there are so many more characters that if you can forward tilt, you can probably also down tilt. Like, yeah, forward tilt, again, I've been using Pikachu's forward tilt a lot more recently, but like, you're gonna tell me that like almost every character that has a good forward tilt has a better other tilt, except for the exceptionally good ones.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through anything that would make me like really disagree with this, and other than the sword characters, and like even
Squirtle.
Not. Yeah, Squirtle. Okay, Squirtle's forward tilt's pretty insane.
But it's up there as like, oh man, this is messed up.
That's like the one good example of that archetype's forward tilt, right? Like I'm looking at basically all the other ones. Yoshi, if you want to call him a brawler, I guess has like a decent one, but even so, it's so stubby. A lot of the more rewarding ones, right? Like Fox sets up tech chases with it, sure, but he's got so many other moves that you'd rather be going for.
He can down tilt, he can dash attack.
Yeah, Luigi's does basically nothing. Nessus does basically nothing. Falcon, again, he sets up tech chases for a short range, but other than the very long-ranged characters, and not even all of those, I'm not impressed by basically any of these.
Like, I think the niche for down air is significantly more important because it's a spike, and it's still an aerial, right?
Yeah,
which are just inherently better.
It does stuff other moves don't do. Forward tilt, that's rarely the case.
Correct.
Some characters, it's their furthest reaching move, and that matters. Okay. But yeah, no,
I think it's the worst move in the game overall. I think if you were to go through if you were to do each individual character's tier lists, forward tilt is almost exclusively, again, except for the insane ones, almost exclusively in the lower half or lower third or fourth.
I've got nothing in favor for these. I'm looking at. Oh man, we have 3 in the lowest tier. That's actually more than I expected.
Well, again, the tier is still good, but not as good. Every move is pretty good in this game. It's just these are like the niche ones. Niche, but it's a good niche.
I think that's actually a really accurate term for it. And forward tilt clearly belongs in there. And I would say at the bottom, yeah, okay. I think we're on the same page here.
Let's move up, right? Where we're going to go with a special move. Side B.
By far the most common burst movement option.
It's a little weird, right? You have some recovery moves, right? Skull Bash, Monkey Flip, Ike, Side B, whatever it's called, Quick Draw. They're often reflectors, right? Like you have Pit, Dark Pit, Mario, Dr. Mario.
So I will advocate against that for the pits in particular. That thing is not a reflector.
It's actually bad as a reflector, right?
It's so goddamn bad as a reflector. It doesn't hit anything ever, and it's actually pit rant. The fact that they put a reflector on this is actually such a detriment.
It actually made it way worse.
It means that projectiles are allowed to interrupt it. It gets sent diagonally upwards, so it will never hit the opponent that launched it, and it pulls you out of what's already a very risky move. Like if these weren't reflectors, they'd be substantially better, and they still wouldn't be good.
That's fair.
Yeah, but there are some good reflectors in there. I'll give you that. The other thing that a lot of these are secondary projectiles.
PK Fire.
Yeah, you've got the PK Fire in there. You've got Steve's minecart is a projectile for some reason.
It's a lot of things.
Crash Bomber. Oh, and then you've got finisher stuff like Rob is what the hell's that called? Rotor Arm. Razor Leaf's in there. I don't know if they're as good as the other specials we've looked at so far.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's the worst special move. But special moves are all pretty good, so it's at least gonna be in the damn good tier. I don't know where. But like, obviously there are some egregious ones, right? You mentioned Minecart. We have Monkey Flip. You have, in my opinion, PK Fire with Ness is absurdly broken. Like, not even Ness bias, just like, can you imagine being able to go on a platform and just be, and then your opponent has to just never be at a lower 45 against you? Which is like the universally best position in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of surprised to hear you say that, because I know you don't like Ness as a Pika player.
Of course, I think that recovery side Bs are really important, because having multiple ways to recover is important, because if you only have one way to recover and your opponent isn't lazy, they can, or, Fox, where they're not going to go off stage, you just die a lot simpler.
Yeah, no, my characters all do that too. Command grabs is another big one.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
This is where a lot of the command grabs
combo
go.
starters, with even Falcon's Raptor Boost, right?
Yeah, Bowser.
Oh, Mii Brawlers.
Mii Brawlers, yeah, a lot of these are range extensions here. You've got Byleth, it's like as far as Byleth can reach.
That's a good-ass platform tech chase move.
Yeah, no, it is. Like, the thing is, that's one of those
Incineroar is the one we're forgetting.
Oh, duh. Yeah, okay. Why do I keep forgetting about Incineroar?
Because we have been able to forget him for a long time, and then SkyJ happened.
But I'm not seeing many that aren't incredible. Oh, even among the command grabs, you've got others that are sort of more in the mid-range tier, like Ridley's and Mewtwo, but even
Mewtwo's
those
broken.
are still... I think Mewtwo's is one of those moves that is theoretically broken that we don't see put into practice as often as
Also, it's a reflector, so like...
Yeah, the reflector thing actually tends to come up in practice a bit more than... Like, I know in theory it's like, at 110% it kill confirms into forward air against the vast majority of the rest.
I do that shit. That's fun.
I know it's fun, and it's... In theory, it should be really good, but let me tell you, man, when I've had to look for footage of that... That's one of those ones I can literally go through like 50 or 60 games before I find an actual
There's
Mewtwo
two
doing
Mewtwo
it.
players.
Yeah, so that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, where it's like character sample size matters so much when you're determining a move, and I personally tend to lean a little bit more on the side of looking at theory rather than necessarily what's actually going on at any particular time in the real world tournament scene, but you need to balance them out.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm trying to think in my brain, I'm like, who's side B is bad? Like, one of the worst side Bs in the game, in my opinion, like thinking about it now, not looking at my previous list, is like Samus. His missiles are kind of meh in this game, but at the same time, it can be used to ledge trap because Super Missile lingers there.
Yeah,
right?
missile optimization is actually one of the things I've noticed Samus players doing pretty well over time. What are some actual genuinely bad ones? Kirby is awful.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't think they're, like, other than, like, Kirby's is probably the worst one that I can think of. But like, they're all good. They're all pretty good.
I think most of these you can categorize as a projectile, a burst movement option, or a command grab.
Those
tend
are
to be
all
like
really good
the big
things.
Categories. Those are all great. Yeah.
Do you think side B's overall better than up B?
No, because up B can be done out of shield, and it's more vital for recovery. I think I might be willing to put it in top tier though.
Like the bottom of top tier currently.
That seems fair to me.
I agree. I feel like there are very few characters where you don't think about their side B.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same camp. There's so many of these where they're not necessarily the first move that a character reaches for every single time. Although even then, like a decent amount of them, Bowser really likes that command grab. The Lynx really like their boomerang. Royce side B to stupid stuff. Mewtwo's confusion. Sonic, how have we not mentioned Sonic?
I don't want to mention Sonic, it's fine.
Okay, I can respect that opinion. That is not an ESAM opinion. Okay, yeah, no, these definitely have to be in top tier.
The current worst move that we have left is up tilt.
Up tilt? Okay.
Again, this is just a placeholder. Up tilts are interesting, right? Because they're often combo moves, right? Think like, they're either like, they feel like they fall into two camps, which is or 3 camps: combo move, kill move, anti-air that does nothing else. And those are kind of the 3 camps, right? You have Pikas and Falcos and Toonlinks. I'm sure there are more that are combo moves. There are the kill moves of Snake and Wolf, and I forgot to mention Steve in the combo up tilts.
Yeah.
But Bowser's Pyras that are kill moves. And then you have the please go away from me, don't land on me, my up smash is too slow characters like Ness, Lucas.
Those aren't very good, but I feel like that third category you're talking about isn't like, it's not massive. A lot of these tend to either be combo moves
or they're sword characters, right? Like sword characters have that archetype a lot.
Let's start with sword characters because they're a very good
benchmark
example of what I'm talking about here. So sword characters, it's often their best anti-air, but it's never their only anti-air, I guess might be one way to put that. It's like Marth and Lucina, their up tilts are really, really good if your opponent's trying to land on you, because if you can obviously go for short hop up air, but you're probably not going to get anything off of it, right? Whereas up tilt will combo. But you can still go for short hop up air. The kill moves, I feel like there aren't enough killing up tilts to be the main focus of where these end up. There are a lot of combo up tilts looking at this.
I feel like up tilt is the second most common comboing ground move.
It's a bit of a niche because of the area that it covers, but there are important niches, right? Like stopping opponents from landing on you and starting combos, those aren't trivial.
Yeah, I mean, I've been using my up tilt as an anti-air recently. It's so good. Then obviously you have like the dumb ones like Falco and Kirby and Steve, which are just like, that's their game plan.
Well, I mean, yeah, Steve's is a war crime and everyone knows that.
Correct.
But like, even looking at sort of the lukewarm versions of those, right? Like, I would probably put Pika's in that camp, right? Like, it's not as good as those.
Yeah, clearly.
It's still sort of in that same group and it does good work. Is Pikachu's tail invincible?
Like the last zigzag.
Okay, and a lot of those up tilts have the sort of same properties as up smash, right? Where it's like we intentionally made these anti-airs. Even on characters,
they're less invincible, more so like disjointed. Like it's not like
disjoint.
Mario where like, oh, your head is straight up not there.
Okay.
But it's like, it's a little bigger than, the hurt box at the very least.
Yeah, so personally when I use those terms, I tend to use them a little bit interchangeably.
Yeah.
I know some people get really hung up on, disjoint versus invincibility versus intangibility versus whatever.
It's more important for ground moves just because of the ability to like clash with them. Like air moves, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. But overall, I feel like you get the gist across, right? Like, and sword fighters, most sword fighters have really good up tilts. Like Roy and Crom, okay, they're good characters with mediocre up tilts, but like that's kind of an outlier. Oh, Meta Knight, if you want to call him a sword character.
That
but
move
even
is good.
It's really good as a like combo into and start his death trap stuff.
Well, I'm thinking of Brawl where it's a kill move. I'm tripping. It would kill me at 100 and I'm peak. Like I'm a light character, but still. Crazy.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay, wait. Brawl Meta Knight's a dude.
Meta Knight is everything. He's all you ever wanted. You can win a set.
It really seems like almost all of these either kill you or combo you and
or are just big
on the ground. Or are big. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Like Min-Mins. Like Min-Mins is huge.
I'm looking for really bad ones right now. That's the big thing. There are some really bad up tilts if you want to go for outliers, right? Like Ganondorf's, Pac-Man's.
Oh god, Ganon's is so bad.
I know. Believe me, I've talked about this multiple times before. Dude, I would take a canonical Ganondorf versus any other character in Smash. Not even close. Other than those obvious extreme examples, these are at least good. I don't think
I think the worst up tilts in my list, I put Ganon, Olimar, Ivysaur, Game & Watch, Rosa, Pac-Man.
I was going to say they're worse than up smashes. Is that even necessarily true? They're more versatile than up smashes.
I guess you get into the philosophical question of, is comboing more important than killing? Because more up smashes kill than up tilts kill.
Do a lot of up tilts lead into kill confirms in Ultimate? There are some. I feel like it's not really that common.
Let's see. You have Steve, Falco, Brawler, Little Mac.
Yeah, so you're listing off all like the really good.
I'm going from top down. I'm looking at my old list.
Yeah.
But again, also a lot of the ones that I'm skipping are also just kill moves.
Yeah.
Like Samus's and Sephiroth's and Snake's and Bowser, Pyra.
I feel like there's enough of them that either straight up kill or kill confirm that you can put them at least somewhat in contention with up smashes in that department. Yeah, and then when you're talking about in terms of frame data, they're usually much better. Invincibility doesn't tend to be nearly as good, and they can't be used out of shield.
Yeah.
Those are like the main knocks against them.
I think the out of shield thing is important enough that it's lower.
You think so? I can get on board with that. Enough characters, I would say, at least somewhat rely on their up smashes as an out of shield option.
They're pretty interchangeable. Like, I think if you, like, comments think that up tilt's better than up smash, I think that's totally fair. Like, again, the tiers are, well, I'm going to try to order them, but there's a way looser order between up smash and up tilt being good as opposed to the difference between up tilt and, like, down smash. Like, I think this is a more significant gap than any of the gaps in the tiers, hence why they're in the same tier.
I think they should be next to each other. Yeah. I don't really care which one you put on top.
We may have saved the best 3 for last. I don't know if they're better than up air and like, these are 3 of the top 5 at the very least. Like, spoilers. These are all absurdly broken moves. I don't even know which one to start with if I'm trying to think of not the best one. I think these are all arguably the best move in the game, like, overall. So let's start with back air.
Back airs are obviously insane. The thing about back airs is the developers, I guess, consider having to turn your back on your opponent to be difficult, so they reward you for doing it by making all of them kill moves.
Yeah, they're either like some of the best combo moves or the best kill moves, or for some reason like really safe.
Or both.
Or both.
Yeah, all 3. Palutena, right? Like her back air transitions from comboing to killing. That's Palutena. Obviously, she's at the top of the list, but like, she's not the only character that does something like that, right? Like, a lot of brawler characters, their back airs are ridiculously safe and do that transition from combos to killing thing.
I feel like a lot of the moves, like if you look at like the lower end of the tier list, like they have a purpose or 2 purposes. Back airs are almost they're all purpose, like for almost every single character. Like,
there are a lot of characters where just spamming back air and neutral is a legitimate strategy.
Yeah, I mean Cloud, right? I mean, he has the best back air in the game, so like that's obviously an exception. But like, again, other than Little Mac and Bronze Robin, the worst 5 back airs that I put are Piranha Plants, which is a super strong kill move, Snakes, which is used all the time by that character, Peach, which is used all the time by that character. But again, I also, to be fair, I don't consider Float in my tier list, so hers would be way higher with Float.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cave Rule and Hero. So like all of those are kill moves and combo moves, right?
Yeah, none of those are bad.
I don't think there's one bad back air.
That is literally the one.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
The other parts on the bottom of my list are like Bowser Jr.'s, which is clearly pretty good. Pac-Man's, which is good. Like Banjo's, which is a drag down. Mithra's, which is a combo move. Are they slightly worse for technically juggling than an up air? So maybe I can see that up air is better than it? Sure. But also back airs a lot of the time are useful in like the lower 45-degree position more than up airs. So like, that's better. They're better for edge guarding overall because you're not edge guarding with an up move. Like, they are significantly more useful in neutral than up airs.
Oh, yeah, unquestionably than in neutral.
Yeah.
Frame data, like, sure, landing up airs technically tend to have better frame data, but you need to actually land the up air. Sword characters don't have a problem with that, but many other characters do. Whereas back airs, like, the other thing that we haven't really mentioned about back airs is a lot of the time they have great range.
Yeah, surprisingly. Like, I mean, Marth Lucina, Samus, Ridley.
Well, even characters that aren't in that camp, right? Like Mario, his back air is one of his longer range moves. That move's
broken.
Yeah, no,
-2.
The thing is, it's -2. It goes far by Mario standards. It combos, it kills. Like, he can be used out of combos. It can be used in the middle of combos.
I feel like they also all do so much damage. Like, I think this is one of the highest damaging moves overall in the game. Like, I feel like everyone's back air does like at least like 12, 13%. Like all of them.
In terms of isolated damage, yeah.
Other than like the extreme combo moves like Mithra.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at what might be some other sort of slightly more niche, I guess you could call them back airs.
Slingshots for like Villager and Isabelle.
Slingshots. But the thing is, they use those a lot. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the slingshot tech with back
no. Like they're forward air and back air. Slingshots.
Yeah. But those are actually still even staple Villager tools. The links, I guess, like Link and
landing backer is a combo tool or like a combo extender.
Bear 1 leads into spin attack at any percent, right? Like that's kind of nuts. Toon Links kind of sucks, honestly.
It's like almost a combo move.
It's almost a combo move, but like I remember seeing those clips on Twitter in the early days of Ultimate where people were talking about, oh, look how good this move is now. No, it's all fake. Like, if you just DI away, you get, like, 2 back airs at early percents, maybe. but that's on the niche end of the list, and it's still a
Good.
massive disjointed kind of combo tool.
That's a safe.
right?
That's safe. Yeah, like
Yeah.
they're ridiculously safe. They're, as you mentioned, they're all kind of big. They're either a combo move or a kill move almost exclusively. I think I would put them higher than up air.
I think they're unquestionably better than up air. Yeah, this isn't really a debate for me. Up airs excel in their niche. Back airs compete in that niche and have like 10 other use cases.
And edge guarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, they do everything.
Let's break it up a little bit so we don't do 2 aerials back to back. Neutral B.
All the best moves in the game are neutral specials.
Also, some of the worst games in the move are neutral specials, which is the kind of problem with it.
That is true.
But also, there's more good ones than bad ones.
So Steve's block, Shulk's Monado Art, Samus's charge shot, and all the other big, dumb, chargeable projectiles.
T-Jolt, gun.
Even simpler stuff like Mario's Fireball, right? Like Mario's Fireball is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And that's not what you'd call one of the best neutral specials in the game. What are some of these terrible ones you're thinking of? Because I can think of some.
Mostly Falcon, Ganon, Puff. Olimar's is kind of doesn't count.
Well, Olimar's, I think if you're going to count Olimar's, again, you need to count it in the camp of it's really good because the character literally doesn't work without it.
Yeah. Bowser Jr.'s is pretty bad. The bad projectile.
Yeah, Bowser Jr.'s. You got stuff like Ike's Eruption, which is
Crazy.
pretty good at what it's really good at two framing, but that's it.
That's a good use.
It's a good use, but he's also got down tilt and he's got down air, and a lot of the time, even good Ike players you don't see go for Eruption because it's such a big commitment.
You see good Ike players nowadays? That's crazy.
You know what? There is more of a discrepancy here than I initially thought, but the highs are so
broken.
high, man.
Yeah, I mean, again, there is not a single character in the game that wouldn't want Monado, right? Block is obviously more niche, specifically, but it's broken on Steve specifically, right? Even for me, like the move that people got mad at me for when I made the tier list is I put Kirby in top tier. Because you imagine just like taking whatever someone's like almost best tool is and then being like, mine. That's crazy. Like Kirby's stats suck, so they're typically worse on him, but like.
Yeah, that's fair because you need to factor in like fast characters who could actually reliably pressure with it.
Yeah. But like they're either like there are a lot of characters main projectiles or like it's I mentioned it I think earlier with like down B. I was like, yeah, it's the second most unique move out of all the moves. Neutral B is the most unique one.
Yeah, neutral B often tends to be kind of like a character's signature, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And the ones that aren't super good are like really strong kill moves like Roy's and Crom's or Eruption, as you said. Like one of the other bad ones is like Ivysaurs, I guess.
Oh yeah, Bullet Seed sucks, but like
yeah. Like, it's not, like, unusable, it's just, why would you use it? Sometimes they're combo breakers, like Incineroars.
Snake.
Oh, duh. What the fuck? Yeah. Like, neutral Bs are crazy. Like, I don't...
Yeah, Duck Hunt
there
as
are
well.
more mid neutral Bs, though, than, in my opinion, up airs and back airs.
That is fair. Like, I think the peak... The best moves in the game, I'm gonna like wholeheartedly argue, are absolutely neutral special.
Yes.
Like nothing else even really compares. But
I agree. It also, there is
Okay.
at least one item spawn in Metal Blade, which is insanely good. Chef.
yeah, Metal Blade's one of the better ones.
Game & Watch Chef is like the best less trapping move in the game by like a shit ton.
Yeah, I don't know what. It wasn't this good in previous games, right?
No,
Like, I
because
can't remember
they did less damage. There was more time between the sets of 5, and they didn't have that much hit stun.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I remember the speed thing in particular was the big one for me.
And you can angle it in this game. You could never angle in the other ones. It was random.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know
So
why they
where-
did that.
So Game & Watches, where would it rank? It's like maybe in the upper...
I put it at 7th.
Oh, you put it that high. Wow.
It's broken. Literally, you hit someone off stage and just Chef. There's nothing else any character needs to do. Because
Okay, that's fair.
like,
trapping's a big
there are
deal.
so few characters that can legitimately get around it, and half of them, it's like, yeah, just have tools to recover high.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I wasn't originally going to put it nearly that high, but you make a good case. But even if you call Game & Watch, like, let's say you're a little bit of a hater, you're not willing to call it a top 7, you're willing to call it maybe like a top 30, that's still a really good cutoff. So I guess the big question here is how bad do the bad ones drag this category down?
Harry's Power Wave and Bayo's Guns. Like, they're Ice Block
They're okay,
is
yeah.
Well, I mean, it
The
has
thing
the
is,
tech
you're
now, but, you know, whatever.
You're listing off a fair amount of moves here, though, right? Like Ridley's Plasma Breath, Charizard's Flamethrower, Budget Bowser's. Like, obviously
Bowser's
Bowser's is
broken.
pretty good. Yeah, I know Bowser's insane, but like Charizard's on the list too, right? You
It's
gotta
really
factor 'em in.
stratified, right? Like there's like the oh my god neutral Bs, and then there's the oh neutral Bs.
I think there's a fair amount in the O tier. Looking through this more carefully, though,
It's really just, do you want to value the good over the bad, or is it the amount of good? Because like we talked about back air, right? And there was one bad back air, but also the best back air is worse than the first like 10 or 15 neutral Bs. Maybe not that. Okay, maybe not that many because Cloud's back air is broken. You know, Cloud's back air is worse than. Is it worse than Charge Shot?
Is Cloud?
Probably.
Yes. Yeah, I would say Charge Shot is better because Charge Shot is literally zero risk in a lot of situations, right? Cloud, if it's parried, some characters can do something to it sometimes.
Also, question. Do you think Sonic's neutral B is broken?
I think it's good, but like the thing is, it's got different use cases, right? I think as a combo extender, that puts it up a lot. I don't think you really want to be spamming it in neutral, though, and I really value being able to spam a move in neutral.
That's fair. I put it at 2, 6, 9, like 15.
That's probably around the region I would do.
Yo, but then you have like Me Gunner's grenade.
Yeah, Me Gunner has and Me Gunner has budget Charge Shot too. I think there are too many mediocre ones. Like you have to factor that in. I think you need to put it in top tier for sure, but I
think it's better than Down Tilt still. Like it's still currently third.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm on board with that. The slot above Down Tilt.
And finally, we are at the last move. I don't know if it's the best one in the game. It's, again, up there. We got Neutral Air.
So early on in Ultimate's life, this was probably considered the best move in the game when everyone just kind of made tier lists based on how good Neutral Airs are. Top player perspective here, I feel like that whole someone does something unsafe on your shield and then you punish with Neutral Air game has evaporated pretty heavily.
Some Neutral Airs are just the neutral move, right? Like, I feel like your neutral move is either back air or neutral air, but I think more often than not, it is neutral air, right? Because you have Game & Watches, you have all of the Mario, Mii Brawler, Link, Young Link, blah, 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 like that type of move, right? The linger nairs.
Well, some of them, like, yeah, Link's 100%. Would you really call Mario's neutral air like a staple of his neutral game? I feel like he uses back air more.
That's fair.
Back air.
But like, I'm saying they're good, right? Then you have
sure.
the multi-hits of Pit. Pit, I think Pit, Dark Pit, neutral airs are broken. You have the
they are
like Aegis and Byleth Camp. You have Game & Watches. Like those are obviously the best ones, but even then, the bad ones are still pretty good in my opinion. Again, barring Olimar and Little Mac, right? You have, in my opinion, I was like Inkling. Inkling's nair's pretty good as a move. It's just, why would you nair instead of back air as that character? You have like a lot of drag down neutral airs. Like even I consider Banjo's nair like bad, but it's still a drag down neutral air. You have Dr. Mario's, which is like the reverse lingering nair. You have Ice Climbers. You have technically Steve's nair is like not great because it's more SDIable than jab for some reason. I think that a lot of the neutral airs are also combo extenders, right? Because you have the drag downs. You have the just, I'm gonna land on top of you with a nair, which like all combo. Like Mithras and Byleths and also Links and Brawlers and DKs and even like Wii Fit Trainers is a good nair, and you know, Lucas's and Ivysaur's, and like I feel like nairs are either like a combo ender, a combo starter, or a neutral tool. Some of these are and or, not just or, right? I
feel like they're definitely one of the most consistent combo starters in the entire game.
It's like nair and down tilt. And like down throw, but we're not doing throws.
Are there any neutral airs that are like exclusively kill moves?
Pyras.
Yeah, that's okay. Pyras is fair, but that's not even really that much a detriment though. Like it's still a good move.
No, it's a good move. Yeah, I'm not critiquing it.
Yeah, and it's on a character that's what she does, right? So it's fair for it to be really specialized like that.
Meta Knights is like a combo move that turns into a kill move. So is like Yoshi's.
Yeah, a lot of them do that. And a lot of them have like sweet and sour spots where you get to choose which aspect you want.
Samus's is never really a combo move, but that it also sends at such a low angle. I think that move's amazing. All of these moves are good. So I think it's kind of like in the back air conversation of like, yeah, well, if all of them are usable, it's got to be high, right?
That's the main thing I'm trying to decide right now. So I personally think that the best two move categories in the game would be back air and neutral air. Neutral air can be used out of shield. Back air kind of can, but like only half the time just by principle, right?
Yeah, whereas nairs typically are both sides.
Yeah.
I think they're also like generally really safe, which is really important.
Not necessarily as safe as back air, but certainly in the ballpark. And I think you get more reward out of them more often than back airs. looking through this, all of the fighting game characters get insane reward off neutral air. Everyone who has a sweet and sour spot gets huge reward off it. Heroes doesn't do much natively, except if he has Acceleratle on it, suddenly it becomes insane.
But even then, he gets like Nair Fair, low percents, and...
Yeah, it's not a great combo, but it's there.
But also, Heroes is like in the bottom third of the cast, so like...
Yeah.
Ugh.
And a lot of those lingering ones that drag you with them, Mewtwo's, Pikachu's, obviously.
So
I don't know why the hell Pikachu... Why does Pikachu's have so much advantage on landing?
It's plus like 11 sometimes.
Pits get...
Yeah, I know, I understand. I don't know. I legitimate, like, I remember, I mean, there's still this conversation, right? People were like, I think Pikachu's neutral air was better in Smash 4, and I was like, listen, you can prefer it. You are objectively incorrect in like a billion ways. As the best Pikachu in the world for the last 2 games, I'm telling you, you're wrong. Like,
Nair loops alone, man.
Nair down smash. Like, Nair down smash and Nair up smash kill infinitely early, but like, Nair was never that strong.
No.
Like, forward air net currently is as strong as Nair was in Smash 4, or stronger. There are still so many good Nairs. Like, there are so many ridiculously safe Nairs that are huge combo extenders like Kasia's, right? And I know his is like an exceptionally good one because Electric exists, but like even like Pichu's, like it's like -2 and it combos forever.
Yeah, and Pichu's isn't even like what I'd call one of the best neutral airs in the game.
I put it in the top tier, but it's also at like 30.
Yeah, that's fair, right? Because
like my tier list, look how big, like I'm just gonna screenshot this to you and send it in Discord. Look at how big my top tier is, and that's without the top 10.
A lot of moves that do similar stuff, but what they do is everything, right?
You can almost always click Nair. Like, can you click something else? Sure, but you can always click Nair.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like, it's a fallback option, right? It's like, you don't even need to worry about what positioning you're in. Like, back airs, you at the very least need to put the slightest bit of forethought into pivoting around. Like, our opinions tend to line up pretty close on moves. Like, when I did my best of every move, worst of every move versus your, like, full moveset tier list things, they've tended to be pretty close. This is one of the ones that varies a little bit more than some of them.
Yeah.
I'm a Game & Watch hater, man. I think that the fact that people fall out of it and that it has a dead zone on shorter characters if you do it rising from the ground, those are big points against it.
Delay it by 3 frames, who cares?
It's 3 frames slower, that's a big deal.
The fact that it's as bigger than people's forward airs is crazy. Also, it's -5.
I'm not calling it okay. -5 is not insane
for how big it is.
But the thing is, like, look, if we're needing to have the discussion of whether or not that move with those traits is even the best in its category, that says a fair amount about the category, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't argue that Game Watch Nair isn't a really good move. So like,
no.
Yeah, so I get what you're saying. Like the fact that we can argue, like, actually the best one is Lynx, or actually it's Byleth's is.
I say Sora, but in any case,
Sora's crazy. That's fair.
Yeah, no, we're so like.
Again, because I do in a vacuum, it's a little harder.
No, I do in a vacuum as well, but right. I agree there are some ones that are a little bit trickier to evaluate, like Sora's, his air drift and his unique floatiness obviously plays into it a bit. But in any case, I think looking at this list here, like, you know, your top 20 or so roughly line up with mine, and I think your top 10 could all have viable arguments made in their favor. That's a damn good move right there.
But is it better than back air?
I think the fact that you can use them out of shield is kind of the tipping point for me.
Like that they're just multi-sided?
I think in neutral, they're relatively comparable. I would
say back air's a little better in neutral overall.
Yeah, it's the range thing is the main one putting it in my favor there. But neutral air, you can, again, pull out whenever you want. And the out of shield thing doesn't matter as much as it used to. I don't know how you feel about that aspect of it, but
I think out of shield is super important nowadays. I just think a lot of the meta characters don't have them. But like, that's weird. Like the fact that people are like, oh man, this like Roy jabbed my shield and I can't do anything about it. I'm like, how are you playing that character?
So the thing is, if a lot of meta characters don't have that attribute, is it that important? How can they be meta if it's that important?
I don't fucking know. People are weird.
You know what, man? I think I might be willing to call neutral air the best move in the game.
I think it's really close. They're both combo moves. The thing that maybe is slightly in back air's favor is it's a better edge guarding generally tool. Like it's better in the lower it's better in advantage overall than Nair. Not that Nair's bad, but back air's better in advantage. And I feel like they're comparable in neutral, and then in disadvantage I would say Nairs are better. overall.
Okay, so how much do you value being able to cover the drop zone versus going off and edge guarding up higher? Because I would say that down lower neutral airs are better because the lingering hits are so much easier to land. This is close.
They're really close. I don't think there's like a right answer here.
Well, that's our job. Literally, we got to come up with one.
I think I would put back air as number 1.
You would put back air as number 1?
Yeah. Just because there's less bad ones.
This is that philosophical question again. Do you value peak or do you value average?
Also, peak back airs are kind of insane.
I think
what neutral air is better than cloud back air?
Looking at I would still honestly say Sora neutral air.
Is better than cloud back air?
I think Sora.
That shit's -3.
Sora's neutral air plays the game for him.
Okay, but
right?
also you can add a shield him between all the hits, and everyone's just lazy.
Okay, but if he drifts back, he can avoid the out of shield, and then the second hit connects. And if he connects, like
you die.
Cloud's back air doesn't kill you at like 80%, right?
Yeah.
Sora's neutral air does rising or falling.
It's a good move.
Like that's ridiculous.
Sora's air is really good.
Yeah. So like. And that's one of the reasons that I put it above Game & Watches personally, is because Game & Watches doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would personally argue that the very peak of neutral air is slightly above the very peak of back air, but back airs overall tend to be a little higher. You know what? I'll concede this one. I think I'm willing to say back air by like the thinnest margin that we've looked at in this video.
I think it's so close. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think it makes sense that the 3 best moves in the game are all aerials because it's an aerial game.
Yeah, so what do we end up with?
Currently, the order is in the top tier: Bair, Nair, Up Air, Neutral B, Down Tilt, Up B, Down B. Sorry, Down B, Up B, Side B.
How much pushback do you tend to get when you put your tier lists out on Twitter?
A lot. But that's because I'm also like a dedicated like couple characters haters, and so the Marth players are like, "Fuck you, die." I'm like, okay, that's fair.
I still think that Marth's up tilt was very misrepresented.
I don't remember where I put it, to be honest.
Not good enough, but overall, I kind of find myself, look.
It's Twitter. Everyone's going to get mad at everything.
No, that's the thing. Putting out opinions on anything to do with this game, not only are you guaranteed to get pushback, you kind of want pushback. I think if you just put out something that everyone agrees with all the time, it's kind of boring content. The reason that you make a tier list is because people like tier lists. It's not because they're actually offering anything particularly valuable. Like, what are you going to do? Go to a new player and say, hey, here's the tier list. Put some value in your life. Pick a character at the top because it totally matters to you right now. Right? Like,
yeah.
No, that's not how it works.
And good thing you got that disclaimer 2 hours into the video, all the people that watched, so. And all 19 videos later.
I think there's probably a lot more people watching this segment than there are people watching halfway through the video. I think you're probably going to get some skippers in there.
Actually.
Again, so much of a tier list comes down to personal philosophy, and I don't really think there's one objectively correct way to make them. But these are fun because you have to consider so many different details that you don't necessarily look at in your day-to-day life, right? And this comes from the perspective of someone who would bet it's not just my job, it's my job, and it's a very particular, like, analytical niche aspect of this incredibly niche field, right? I will literally bet quite comfortably that there's 100 people or less on the planet who have watched as much Smash Ultimate as I have. And I still had to consider new angles for this video, as I usually do when we're making stuff like this.
But yeah, I mean, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for being on again. Obviously, all of MockRock stuff will be in the description. And I'll probably have put a card up somewhere, probably when your face first shows up. But yeah, thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Subscribe, and we'll see you all next time. I might be done with move tier lists for ever? Long time? I don't know. Peace.